How much of your students' behaviour do you think you can control? The fact is that the only person's behaviour you can control is your own. And while you cannot control another person's behaviour, when you change what you do, you can increase the likelihood that students will do what you want. You can create the optimum environment for student behaviour change through what you do as the teacher. In this video, you will learn the top 11 mistakes teachers make in classroom management so that you can stop making those mistakes. You will learn how to deal more effectively with the low-level behaviours that can drive you crazy, like students refusing to do any work, or not following your directions, or talking when you're talking. If you are like many teachers, you find these behaviours disrespectful and perhaps button-pushing, and you may find yourself thinking, students shouldn't behave this way. I shouldn't have to put up with this kind of behaviour. When I was at school, I was respectful to teachers. Or the highly damaging, this student is doing this to me on purpose. These thoughts are not helpful for you, and while you may even verbalise these thoughts at times, they can undermine your relationships with students and reduce your confidence in your ability as a teacher. I'm Mari Amaro. I'm a teacher, presenter and author. I've been working with students and teachers for over 30 years, and I'm passionate about helping teachers improve teaching and learning practices. I combine research and experience to provide strategies that improve student learning by improving classroom management. I focus on the practices that take little or no extra teacher time, strategies that can actually give you back time by helping you to work more effectively. I love coaching teachers, and I emphasise teacher wellbeing because improved teacher wellbeing means improved student wellbeing, and that contributes to better academic and social outcomes for all students. If you'd like to learn more, please subscribe to our channel and ring the bell. You know the drill. We put out 2 videos every week, so make sure you don't miss any of the content. When you subscribe, that helps to support the channel, means we can keep making the videos. If you know anyone you think would benefit from this information, please feel free to share it with colleagues, friends and family. Everyone knows a teacher or someone who works in a school. And if you have any questions or topics that you'd like me to cover, please let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. Here are the top 11 mistakes that teachers make in classroom management. Number 1, they have unclear expectations. John Holt, in his book How Children Fail, wrote that the first time students find out about the teacher's expectations can be when they fail to meet them. Your students need to know what you expect of them in terms of behaviour and academic performance and how they can achieve that. When you have clear expectations for your students, ideally negotiated with them, you set the students up to win the game and yourself. You're giving them every opportunity to succeed in your class because they know where the bar is set and they know how to get there. If I was going to give a new teacher just one piece of advice, it would be this: decide in advance how you want your students to behave and then explicitly teach them how to do it. If you'd like to learn more about this, check out our videos on how to set up the classroom at the beginning of the year by having clear expectations and explicitly teaching that behaviour. Number 2, being disorganised. When you're late to class, don't have materials ready, when you're flustered and unprepared, you set the class and yourself up for failure. You can't do your best work when you're late, and the students have been given extra time to be bored, niggle at each other, and feel annoyed and angry at having to wait. Number 3, you don't collaborate with colleagues. When you work with other teachers, you can learn more about your students, learn different ways to manage behaviour, and gain a different perspective on particular students. You may find out information that could make the difference to how you view a student's behaviour and help you to be more compassionate and understanding of their situation. Number 4, undermining whole school approaches by not following agreed protocols and processes. Teachers who white-ant whole school policies are doing themselves and their colleagues and students a huge disservice. Consistency of practice is what helps a school run smoothly. reduces teacher stress and burnout, and supports staff and students. When some teachers decide that they're not going to follow the processes, the results can be a toxic school environment where students know they can push the boundaries and teachers don't feel supported. Number 5, failing to follow through. Once you've established your expectations with your students, follow through consistently with reinforcements and consequences. This is particularly important at the beginning of the school year or when you are first developing relationships. When you follow through with what you say, you build credibility and trust with your students. You give them certainty and assurance that you are reliable and dependable. You also reinforce their appropriate behaviour when you follow through, and your consistency will determine the effectiveness of any intervention to change student behaviour. And while it may feel too hard sometimes, following through is what students remember, and it's what builds positive relationships with students, particularly for those students who have behaviour issues. Number 6, focusing on the negative behaviours. 95% of the time, students are doing the right thing, but our focus is grabbed by the 5% because of our brain's natural negative bias. By switching this tendency in the classroom and focusing on what's going well, including giving attention to appropriate behaviour, you will increase the intensity and frequency of positive behaviour because 1, you're looking for it, and 2, you are giving students the clues they need to demonstrate that behaviour. Number 7, ignoring too much inappropriate behaviour. Now, this may sound like a contradiction to number 6. However, this means not dealing with inappropriate behaviour, letting kids get away with behaviour that you know and they know is unacceptable. While using what Christine Richmond calls selective attending by distracting, diverting, changing lesson focus, using proximity and redirection are valid behaviour tools, some behaviours require action, teacher action. It may mean speaking with the student after class or privately during the class. It may mean giving students a choice about where and when they complete their work. Or it could mean that you need to reteach your class expectations for behaviour. Number 8, expect that students will just behave. Effective teachers have a plan for what they will do when a student does not follow class rules, because it will happen. Carefully plan your approach so that you use low-key strategies to redirect, remind students of expectations, distract, and offer assistance to prevent behaviour escalations. Number 9, expecting that students will respect them just because they're a teacher. I met a young teacher at one of my workshops who felt that students should show respect for her just because that was what she did when she was at school. And while I understand her frustration and bewilderment, it's not just a given that students will respect their teachers. However, they will show respect for teachers who they feel care about them and respect them. And it's part of your job to teach students what it means to be respectful and model that for them, even when they are not being respectful. Number 10, yelling, nagging, pleading, hoping, praying, and using sarcasm. All these behaviours sound like stress and lack of control over yourself and your situation. They're not behaviour strategies, though I have heard teachers say that these are the tools that they use. If this is what's in your toolkit, teaching will be very exhausting. If you're interested in finding out some other ways to manage your classroom and some better classroom management tips, check out my book, Habits of Highly Effective Teachers. That'll give you some alternative strategies that will save your sanity. Number 11, using punishment to change behaviour. Threats work for 75 to 80% of the population. The other 25% need to be explicitly taught how to behave, positively reinforced, provided with support such as reminders, cues, pre-corrects, and a calm, considered response when they don't follow expectations. Check out our video on why punishment is an ineffective classroom management strategy and what you can do instead. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and happy teaching.